Hi guys, I have not been having my hair cut. Don't know if you recognise me or not, but it's still me. There's my passport. I was out during the beginning of the Advance UK conference meeting today. Now, Baraka, I will leave his link and, of course, the link to the full stream in the pinned comments down below. So if you'd like to check that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the main highlight of the day, of the evening, which was, I'll just find out what you're going to... I'm already signed in. Shut up. Yeah. Already signed in. Well, that was that big black box I kept going. Anyway, where was that? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I'm going to bring the main meat of the meat. The main meat of the meat for you right now. So I've made myself a coffee. I don't know if that's back to front or not. Richard. Me, of course. Meaning marvellous and handsome or something. I don't know. Some tap from Temu, so it probably says that. Yeah. So I'm going to bring you that, and I'll give you a commentary if I say any. I'm the same as you. This is the first time I'll be watching this. So let's see whether or not I'll louse it up, which hopefully I won't this time. No whiskey, by the way, just a coffee. So grab yourself a brew and let's get started. It will be starting in the next minute or so. So don't get bored and go on TikTok and watch a dance about it. All right, bear with it. 1 minute. Maybe 1.5 minutes because the attention deficit people out there, you know, I have to keep pausing it. So, you know, blame yourselves, not me. Love you really. No.
Before you get carried away, no, welcome to the advance party. You know, when Floss said, do you want to do some stand-up at the party? I didn't read the email. I thought it was a birthday party. But this is something else. I'm just going to do a bit of stand-up for 5 minutes, because, you know, I love these guys. I love, you know, Ben, Floss, David. They're all great guys. And, you know, if you don't know who I am, my name's Leo. I'm from Scotland, in case you're wondering. You can't understand the noise coming out of my face.
Shout out to the Scots.
Have we got any Scottish people in here tonight? Nice. Good to see you out spending money. That is good to see. It's just nice to see some Scottish people in London who aren't aggressive begging. That is good to see. And what an event! I can't believe we've got protesters outside. That's exciting. Calling us Nazis. What a joke. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Well, I think if anything, that's extremely offensive to actual Nazis. I think if Hitler came back today and he saw a group of multi-ethnic people, a lot of whom are liberals, campaigning for British values, he'd be disgusted. These are the sorts of people who fought the Nazis. You know, I can see the good in communism. You know, I'm a fan of communism because it's actually the leading cause of death of communists. But yeah, hope not hate. You know, hope not hate. The disgraced far left group. Man. You know, a senior member of Hope Not Hate was arrested and convicted for paedophilia charges, and they reckon they're the good guys. Apparently, they were trying to get this event shut down, and they were going to then send people to monitor it, but then they realised we'd hit puberty, so they're not here. Yeah. A far left group with paedophiles as its members. Who'd have seen that coming? Who'd have seen that coming? It's ridiculous. So honestly, how can I be racist? I'm mixed race myself. Like, my mum's Anglo and my dad's Saxon. It's... I hope that makes me diverse enough for Keir Starmer, who just yesterday said to be British is to be diverse. It's like, what about the ones who aren't? Are they still British? You know what I mean? It's like, you can say what you like about Keir Starmer, but I think he's done a wonderful job. He's the best Prime Minister Mauritius has ever had. He really is.
I've moved my head out of the way there so as you can see all the advertisements at the original streamer, which is the Baraka Show. Nice guy, brilliant. He's actually a black British patriot as well. Yeah, the Baraka Show, as you can see. Same as I say, I'll leave the link for the full stream in the link in the pinned comment down below. Okay. Don't want to step on anybody's toes. Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to mind me doing this because we're spreading the word of Advance UK. It's not very, you know, we're not very able to get that many people to hear us. So I think the more ears, the better. And I don't think Barack's going to mind that at all. Well, fingers crossed. Anyway, I did get a thumbs up and a winky face from one of the admins when I asked if I could share this stream. Right, so there you go. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
It really is. People say it's racist to want to control borders. It's not. You know, I want to stop the small boats. Because, you know, I've just seen the impact mass immigration has had on London. Just in the time I've lived in London, like, so many Somalians have arrived that parts of London just don't feel like Bangladesh anymore. It's crazy. And stopping the boats isn't racist. Stopping the boats is sexist. Let's be honest, if those boats were full of hot Somalian babes, you know, all topless like in the National Geographic, like the men here would be down on the beaches saying, "Come on in, ladies, which, mind your feet on the cobbles," you know. But they're not, it's all blokes, so we don't. And let's be honest, if it was women coming across in the boats, the French would be stopping them leaving. And also, if it was women coming across in the boats, all the liberal women in Britain would be down on the beaches campaigning to get the borders closed. They'd be like, "Stop these people coming in." No, it's ridiculous. It's yeah. Anyway, I've talked for long enough. I'm going to bring on Richard Thompson now, who's going to introduce some of your speakers for this event. So thanks for listening. I'll be Leo. Cheers.
Thanks, Leo. Goodness me, how am I gonna come after that? I did ask them to actually get a shorter host, so I'm not really too happy with that. I have to just adjust these slightly. So yeah, hello, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming for what is going to be an absolutely groundbreaking day for British politics. My name is Richard Thompson and I'm the National Director for Advance UK, and if I look completely exhausted, I can guarantee you that it was in the job description that Ben gave me when he asked me to take on the role. But honestly, it's an enormous privilege, and it's a 24/7 job filled with phone calls, meetings, press releases, more phone calls and last-minute by-elections. And you finish the day completely exhausted, but you still feel overwhelmingly positive because you know deeply that what you're helping to build is something so crucial for this country, and you're doing it with some amazing people that care so passionately about what we're trying to achieve. Now, it is an honour to be speaking today, but it did make me reflect, and I certainly wouldn't describe myself as a professional communicator. Publicly speaking doesn't really come very naturally to me, but it did help me sort of think about the message that I had and what I wanted to discuss. And I thought back to a speech delivered recently by a serving MP at a certain party conference. Now, this MP was quite clearly told what he could and couldn't say. Entire sections of his speech have been forensically reviewed and censored. And this MP is no longer serving with that party, and I'm sure many of you could hazard a guess at who I might be talking about. But it wasn't the MP or the individual that struck me, it was the culture. It was the party so fearful of its own message that it didn't trust its own representatives to speak freely. And then it dawned on me. At no point had Ben or anyone at Advance UK asked to see my speech. Nobody was looking to steer or censor anything. I can see Ben looking a little bit uncomfortable, probably wishing he had done. But that, ladies and gentlemen, should really tell you everything you need to know about the mindset and the values of Advance UK. Because freedom of speech isn't a slogan for us, it's a core value. This is the party that trusts its people. This is the party that believes in independent thought and that the people's voice should be heard and not managed. Now, we are very fortunate to have some remarkable public speakers within our ranks. Ben, of course, being one, the amazing Howard Cox another. In fact, our college is full of really incredible communicators, some of whom we'll hear from today. But what really excites me is that this party promotes and gives a voice to anyone with a voice that wants to be heard. People like Sarah White, given the space to do exceptional work. Or Tim Power, our Deputy National Director, helping to build the structure that our future leaders will grow and develop from. In fact, all of our regional directors are genuine champions of the people, and I can't wait to see what incredible...
I've been on particular run-ins with this Debbie Berguss person. She seems to think that Ben Habib is Pakistani, is a non-practicing Christian Pakistani who's half English. His great-grandfather fought alongside the English in both World Wars, I believe, or at least World War I. I'll try and find that video out and leave that in the link as well, but you can't educate stupid, fortunately.
Work that we continue to accomplish together. Now, in fact, I would invite everybody to try and find and seek and find them now, because ask them how you can get involved locally, because I genuinely mean that this is a party that will listen to you and hear your voice. Not career politicians or showmen delivering rehearsed speeches in front of flashing lights and pyrotechnics, but genuine, authentic people with conviction, courage, experience, and integrity. For too long, we've had slick, opportunistic, self-serving people. And look where that's got us. What this country needs is genuine people, people from the real world, backed by a party rooted in principle, intent on delivering real change.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's Tony Mitch there, 21. I mean, this is from this is post live stream. So, Debbie Berguss is a reformed troll. You know what? I thought the internet was massive until I started looking around at Advance UK stuff and being an avid supporter for Advance UK. And this This sums it up completely. Thank you very much, Tony Mitch 21 and and others. But most of these, quite a few of these people I actually know in here. I think there's Farty Pants met him last night on Best Black's channel. Sorry, Best of Bess. Yeah. I'll leave a link as well in the pinned comments.
Now, for the time that I've been involved in politics, and whenever I've spoken publicly, I've often opened with something along the lines of how I'm not a politician. I'm like everyone in this room, I'm from the real world, dealing with the consequences of the distant, out-of-touch, globalist political class. My background is in the armed forces. I was in the Royal Marines for 8 years before I went into the financial technologies industry. So trust me when I say that politics was not on the cards. But my job, essentially alongside the incredible team of the Deputy National Director, the Regional Directors, the organisers and branch chairs, is to help to build a structure that gives our members a voice. Because as I said, we are the party that believes that the people's voice should be heard and not managed.
Not only that, guys, we're also doing. I'll leave a link to that one as well in the pinned comments. Please check them out. All right, there's going to be a load of information in there. We're actually trying to get an Advanced UK hub together on the Wizard's Words channel. He's able to use StreamYard and that. I don't use it. I just upload my videos after the fact that it's, you know, that like this stream just here, it's happened. I think it's just ending the stream now, but. Yeah, whereby even the public can, by association, be able to communicate their questions and answers or their ideas to Advanced UK's college. Last night we did have Paul Thorpe on. Next week, or sometime in the near future, we're hoping to get Richie and Rogan on the channel. Watch this space. I'll try and post about it, or maybe even make a short video, same as I did do on the Paul Berguss one, because we've had him on the channel as well. We also had Guardian Mose. I'll leave his channel description, his channel link in the description down below, in the pinned comment rather. So let's get on anyway.
Because you, our amazing members, are genuinely the beating heart of this party, and the structure that we will implement will enable you to have a voice and will enable the college, as well as Ben, to have your finger on the pulse to what matters to you and to this country, and then help feed that insight back into our college to help them on their decisions around policy.
Yeah, we're also hoping we're chasing Ben Habib to come on as well. Well, not really chasing him because he is easy to get hold of. Well, not really get hold of, but if he does notice that we're trying to get in touch with him, then he will come on. He will come on to the Wizards Words. I mean, we've got 6,000 subs at the moment, so you know that's a big audience. And Paul Thorpe's live stream that we did, that got 2,500 viewers in the first hour or two of that interview.
And we need people like you. We need you to be active, to contribute, because this country is in crisis and we need to save it. The United Kingdom is without question the greatest in the world. We gave the world the Magna Carta that birthed parliamentary democracy, the standard in the Western world. We abolished the slave trade and enforced it globally. And we stood up against tyranny, even when we stood on our own in the darkest days of the Second World War. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things with extraordinary resolve. And we see that today, up and down the country, people taking a principled stand. Just take a look at Braintree, Crowborough, Epping, Merseyside, Blackpool, all of these people, all of these places up and down the country, too many to name, of people being fed up of not being listened to, being at the back of the queue. You know, I often joke about, from my time in the military, in the Marines, when I was on operational deployments, and I would be kicking doors down to apprehend some rather unsavoury people, to now politely knocking on doors to deliver leaflets. And it helps to remember which approach we're using. But my time in the military, it really sort of taught me many things, but one real endearing life lesson, which I hold close to my heart, and which is self-motivation. When times are hard, physically and mentally, you get up and you keep moving forwards, and that is the spirit of Advance UK. We need that from all of you. We need to have that spirit, because we need busy people, we need courageous people, we need self-motivated people, because we are taking a principled stand, and we can only do this with you. Because only together, with you, can we advance the United Kingdom. Thank you. Now, I'll wait here because I'm going to introduce the next speaker. I did tell him it's very important he comes here today. He told me to get stuff because he's a bit busy up north, somewhere called Gorton and Denton.
Nick Buckley. Nick
Of course,
Buckley.
I'm talking about our brilliant candidate, Nick Buckley.
Hello everybody, my name's Nick Buckley. Sorry I can't be with you today, but as you may have guessed, I'm a little bit busy. I'm a little bit busy in Gorton and Denton, pounding those streets, handing out leaflets and trying to get people to vote for Advance UK. Now, I've stood in this election with my own little manifesto, and I just wanted to let you know what I intend to do if I am elected in this by-election in Gorton and Denton. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a local grooming gang inquiry, just local, and I'm going to make it a public inquiry, and we're going to publish the results. And if it can work here, and if we can hold people accountable, then other people in other areas will go, why can't we have that here? Why can't our MP do that here? And that's going to be the domino that's going to help this country. And we need to get to the bottom of the grooming gangs. I want to know which officers, which council staff covered this up, ignored it, turned a blind eye. And we'll get that information, and we'll get the proof of who's done this. I'll be naming them in Parliament. And let's see what happens then, shall we? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use part of my salary, because who needs 96 grand to live on? I don't. And I'm going to fund a on the streets youth project tackling knife crime, because I don't want any kids dying on my watch. I don't want any more kids dying in pools of their own blood. So I personally will fund a project in the area to tackle knife crime. Because
Did you catch that? He will personally fund the project to tackle knife crime. Now, he's got an MBE, all right. He is known for his work with the community in Manchester. He's a Manchester lad. Unlike other taller MPs who are standing, you know what I mean? This guy is actually a Manchester, he is a Mancunian, and everyone knows him round there who you know, well, they know they're not daft. Come on. Unless there's that much of a diverse population within Gorton and Denton, hopefully he'll get in.
one of the worst thoughts I have at being an MP is having to sit in front of a mum who's crying, telling me how her son was stabbed to death while I was their MP, and why didn't I do more? And that's a really good question to be asking your MP. Why didn't you do more? I don't want to be sat in that position. I'll be doing my best on that. And then I want to be looking at the councils. This area crosses Manchester Council and Tameside Council, and as you know, an MP has no influence over the councils, but I sort of do. It's called embarrassment, it's called access to the press, it's called being able to speak in Parliament. So I've got some influence there. I'm going to set up a hotline where members of the public and council staff can report incompetence and waste to me, and I'll flag it to the public. I can't do anything about it, but I can tell you about it, and then maybe you can kick up enough fuss to get the council to change. I want to embarrass them that much that they want to change themselves. How about that as a strategy? We make them do the work to improve themselves. Otherwise, I just keep telling the press what they're doing wrong.
I've got an idea that it could do, you know, a handheld metal detector. So what they need to do is to check people out who are on the streets, who might be acting a bit shifty, etc. Nothing to do with skin colour or anything like that. You know, it could be anybody nowadays, and then just quickly go random with a metal detector, see whether or not they've got any metal that might be hidden upon themselves, such as a knife or something. And then if they're found carrying, they should get 5 years imprisonment. If they mess around and keep the officers waiting who are trying to just give them a quick, you know, metal detector over them, take not even a minute. If they're messing around for 5 minutes, not wanting them to do that, then they'll get took down to the police station and then searched properly. And I think that could be a good idea. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. But we should be able to bring this up with Nick Buckley if we can get him on the Wizards Words channel. We will send him in an email and an invite, I think, or I will, and you know, hopefully get that question raised, or that idea raised. You know, that's what it's all about. That's all what Advance UK is all about. Our ideas getting into Parliament. It's a bottom-up structure. It's brilliant. It's excellent, right? Excellent. So yeah, I'll be raising that question with Nick Buckley, hopefully on the Wizards Words channel.
The next thing is about crime in general. The police have lost their way. I used to be based in police stations. I used to train police officers. And they've lost their way now. They don't serve us anymore now. They're more like a political enforcement arm. And I'm sick of that. Their priorities should be our priorities. We should be telling the police what we want in our area, because it's our area and they're public servants. We pay for them. But at the moment, they tell us their priorities, which is cracking down on free speech, arresting people at demonstrations, calling at your house because you've said hurty words on Facebook. They're not my priorities. So I'm going to ensure we get a top senior police officer every month at an open public meeting where they can update the public on what they're doing, their strategies, and then the public can tell them if it's good enough, what's going on, why they're failing, what needs to change, what their priorities should be. It won't be to report crime, because you'll do that somewhere else. I'm talking about holding the senior management of the police to account. It'll be uncomfortable, but do you know what? We're paying their wages. Absolutely. We're entitled to make it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My fifth point is really about me, because I can't exactly hold the police to account and drag them over the coals if I'm not willing to do the same myself. So I'm going to do 10 meetings a year where the public can pull me over the coals. I'll update them on what I've done that month, what I'm going to be voting on, why I voted certain ways in Parliament, and then people can tell me what they think about me. Because it's not really fair for the public to wait another 2, 3, 4 years before they judge their MP. You should be judging them basically on a monthly basis and telling them this isn't good enough. Because they're our boss. Yeah. They'll be my boss. Yeah. And any job you do, your boss tells you all the time if you're doing good or bad.
Yeah, make them accountable with their answers as well. Not like what Keir Starmer's getting away with in the Houses of Parliament by dodging questions on Prime Minister's question time. It's supposed to be a question time from the people to him, and he should be held accountable for it. And he should give honest, straight answers, not just say some crap and get away with it.
And that's what the public need to be doing to MPs, and I'll implement that there. And the reason why I've picked these 5 things is because I know I can do these things with no help and no money. There's no point me promising the world and then saying, or the government won't give me the money to build that new road or build that new hospital. So what's the point of promising it? I'm promising 5 things I know I can do with no money, no help and support from councils or the government. And that's how you're going to judge me, because they're 5 things I guarantee will be done if I become the MP for Gorton and Denton. And if it works here, and if I can get change here, we'll have people across the country going, I want my MP to do that.
Exactly.
Stop with all the big ideas, stop with all the lies, stop with all the propaganda. Do smaller stuff, but get it done. Because it has to start somewhere. Let's start with the smaller stuff and get it done. Little improvements add up, and we'll encourage other people to improve things. But at the moment, just saying, vote for me, and if I win, Keir Starmer has to resign. It's like, are you mental? Keir Starmer's not resigning by losing a by-election. I don't think any Prime Minister's ever resigned over losing a by-election. They expect to lose by-elections. And whoever wins this by-election, it will not change the country, because it's one by-election. But if they vote the right person in, it'll change the area. So that's me. That's why I'm standing. That's what I'm going to do. So enjoy the rest of your day with Advance UK, and hopefully I'll see you soon. And if you're near Greater Manchester, get in contact and volunteer. We've got 3 weeks now to win this election. Thank you, and enjoy your day.
Great guy. Great guy. Here you go, guys. Just a minute. I'll just make me head big, and then we'll get back into it. Right? I've just picked this up from my mum's. My mother is an artist, and guess what she's painted for me? Let me show you. One more. Excuse the bumping. Oh, I'll tell you what. I can mute my microphone. I'll mute my microphone, then I'll be back. All right. There you go, my mother's artwork. I just saw the promotional material for Advance UK. There you go. I don't know if you can. That. There you go. Mother did that. Thank you, Mother. Mother cut my hair as well. Professional hairdresser, and also, yeah, professional painter. How's that? I don't think that could be more appropriate. That's going up in my living room to suit with my desert theme. But yeah. So yeah, let's get back to it anyway. Let me make my head small again. Make that big. Press play.
This is Britain, where freedom was written.
Got to be careful with some of this audio. Might have to cut this out. Right, I'll leave it to play and then I'll cut it out post recording. Okay.
Rome arrived.
We had some remarkable public speakers within our college. You're going to hear from a few of them now. The next one up is the amazing Norman Fenton.
Ladies and gentlemen of Advance UK, I wouldn't have been able to get away with saying that at an academic conference. I want to speak about how our universities have been the cancer corrupting our culture. Even the United Arab Emirates won't send their students here anymore. They're afraid their children will be radicalised by the Muslim Brotherhood and Marxists. I suspect they're also wary of their kids coming home believing that men can get pregnant and women can have penises. So it's a sensible decision. I mean, why pay for indoctrination when TikTok will give it to you for free? So after 47 years in academia, as student, researcher, lecturer and professor. I speak as an insider who's watched this rot spread from within, and it's far worse than people realise. For many years, I was taken in myself as a socialist who generally believed that the system was serving truth and justice. I know exactly how the indoctrination works. I eventually woke up, and when I publicly challenged, for example, academic claims on COVID and climate change, the exaggerations, suppressed data, enforced conformity, I was branded a conspiracy theorist and quietly erased by institutions I'd served for decades. Dissent's no longer debated, it's destroyed. Just last week, young freedom fighter Montgomery Toms was attacked on campus for politely inviting debate on remigration. His friend Will Coles, who I saw is here today, he attempted a citizen's arrest on the attacker and was beaten by a mob of students and lecturers. Yet he was the one the police arrested because they said remigration is offensive and he was asking for it. That single episode tells you everything. Rotting universities and two-tier policing protecting violent leftist lecturers and students. Once universities fell, everything downstream followed. Courts, policing, media, even common sense. The results were all around us. Politicised justice, captured institutions, propaganda posing as news, and a generation trained to loathe its own civilization. Universities don't just reflect culture, they manufacture it. They train the teachers, journalists, politicians, lawyers and regulators who now enforce the worldview, capture the campus, and the culture follows. This cultural Marxist long march through the institutions didn't begin in the 1960s. It began in the 19th century with the Fabian Society, the wolf in sheep's clothing, preaching gradual socialist infiltration rather than open revolution. Debate replaced by dogma, dissent punished, conformity rewarded. Successive generations of credentialised conformists captured every institution. Fabian Tony Blair, he completed the job by ensuring that most 18-year-olds went to university for deeper and longer exposure to ideological conditioning. Most of them belonged in jobs or vocational training, not Marxist mills. If we're serious about recovery, we must shrink universities dramatically and remove the wrong. This isn't a matter for timid reform, it's civilizational fight. Our answer is clear. Defund the DEI enforcers, policing speech and manufacturing grievance. Strip funding from political poison courses and teach Britain bashing as virtue. Restore universities to elite serious study, not activist daycare. Bring back merit and free speech. Reward rigour, not ideological loyalty. Cut hostile foreign funding that distorts priorities and undermines sovereignty. This isn't censorship, it's sanity. Not exclusion, excellence. Not nostalgia, survival. Every successful civilization defends its knowledge fortresses. Ours were captured by people who think that decolonising the curriculum means replacing Shakespeare with grievance studies. That ends now. We must take them back for merit, truth and survival. And if the Marxists hate it, they can apply for a safe space on another planet, or maybe even China. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Norman. And now for our second helping of common sense, the formidable Kathy Glengle.
Now then, I've got most of the college members giving their interviews as to why they joined the Advanced UK College. Now, this is a lady I haven't got an interview of. I can't seem to find one anywhere. I'm going to put it to the Advanced College via Paul Thorpe that the people I haven't got. I think it's Beppy Pezel. I think I've pronounced his name right. Kathy Gengel and another one. It is actually listed at the list, which is again I will list in the pinned comment down below or in the description. One of those two, probably in the pinned comment, so everybody can see it without having to click more. Yeah, this is a lady I haven't got an interview of why she joined Advanced UK. Not that there's anything dodgy about that or anything. I just think it'd be nice to have that format. Anyway.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I edit a dissenting website called TCW Defending Freedom, otherwise known as the Conservative Woman, the true Conservative woman. It is wonderful to be here with so many Advanced UK members, so many like-minded people, all of us alarmed by the state of our country, its political descent into two-tier justice, censorship and corruption, its social descent into anti-science zealotry and intolerance, our freedom of speech curtailed. All of us, I hope, set on reversing this, knowing that it requires nothing less than national and cultural renewal. Thank you, Ben Habib, for founding a party.
Absolutely. Come on, Rupert. You know it makes sense, Rupert.
That, at last, puts this front and centre. Also for inviting me to be a college member. And thank you, Floss, for inviting me to speak. It's an honour. The West is in a mess, and that's putting it lightly. Above all, it's in a state of moral collapse. On the one hand, we have Epstein's network of degeneracy. On the other, we have the Muslim rape gang's disgrace. These are not isolated examples. They're symptomatic of a deeper decay that recalls the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
It has been said that civilizations usually die of suicide or murder. Well, we are dying of both. From the twin evils of homegrown zealotry and imported fundamentalist Islam. These are the colliding forces we're up against and have to take on. But consider first our own social suicide. The rapidly declining proportion of white British births, which at the current rate, according to one analyst, could fall below 50% this year. White women have turned their backs on babies and motherhood. 225,000 abortions a year. The spread of one-and-done families, and the growing decision to have no children at all, whatever the reason for this. These facts cannot be denied. Then take the careless attitude to children, the country's epidemic of fatherlessness, more babies born out of wedlock than in, over 3 million lone parent families, nearly all mother-led. Marriage out of reach for all but the better off, and catastrophic for the rest. Dismiss this as modern social liberalism, if you will, something that Kemi Badenoch's conservative realism dictates we can't and shouldn't change. Well, I don't. It is dysfunctional. It's an anti-child society that casts children adrift and turns them into wards of the state. It's a society with no future. Far from liberal, it's a product of social engineering, of that selfish, I'm all right, Jack, globalist establishment class.
such as Richard Tice of Reform. And that famous interview that went viral with him saying, "Well, what do I care? I'll be dead by then." Even if we, if we bring in all these terrible policies, not that they've brought any policies anyway. If we bring in all these terrible policies, what does it matter to me? I'll be dead by then. Come on, you remember, surely.
A class that refuses to acknowledge the cause of the malaise, its decades-long assault on the traditional family, and the feminist war on men. A war, I'm sad to say, men lost. A war that stripped fathers of their authority and rights, and that feminized men or just made them obsolete. That replaced husbands with the state. That put babies and children in the care of strangers. A conquest that culminated in the 2010 Equality Act, which granted women permanent victim status, that marginalized white men and made them toxic. All this successfully prosecuted by a minority of radical feminists, helped by some honorary male feminists, knowingly or not fulfilling a cultural Marxist agenda. And yes, the Uniparty signed up to it at every stage along the way. Never mind the devastation it caused. More adults living alone than ever before, more lonely childless women, more emasculated men, more men alienated to the point of suicide, more socially driven same-sex relationships, more single parenthood, more isolation. The sense of belonging to family, community and country lost. In short, an atomized, alienated, state-dependent society. This is the feminists' brutal legacy. No wonder today's young people are so vulnerable to identity politics, to victimhood and offence, to fictitious virtues and intolerant new religions, whether climate change, gender ideology or Palestinian activism. They have no foundations, no networks of family relationships, only febrile friendships and social media. Social atomization, Hannah Arendt observed, is the precondition of indoctrination and totalitarianism. It is the seedbed for oikophobia, aversion to home, culture and heritage. But yet another step was needed to complete this disintegration. One final stop on the long march through the institutions, the destruction of biology itself. The big LG, I can't say it, LGB.
The big LG TV, HDMI plus DVD, 4K plus. Oh, by the way, a message to all those guys out there who think that men can play in women's sports. I've got a big hand and a little hand. That means that I identify as a non-digital, non-binary clock, and I would therefore like to time sporting events. There you go. I'll let you think about that for a minute.
Right. I think I left off the TQ and INA plus. It's a gender and identity lie. The wicked lie taught to parents and children from birth that you can choose who you are. This was the final lie, the ultimate insanity that the Uniparty establishment fell for. That marriage can be severed from biology and parenthood from gender. That men and women are transferable. That all family choices are equal for children. It's the same moral relativism that underlies all the other political lies, that multiculturalism is compatible with democracy. is virtuous when it blatantly and viciously discriminates against white males. These are all moral inversions. This is today's banality of evil. Fighting it is the huge battle ahead, reversing the perversions of the last 30 years and more. Well, we won't do it without repairing relations between men and women and reinstating men in society. We won't do it without restoring and renewing our Christian-based marriage culture. Marriage that's for the procreation of children and for the good of both spouses.
Absolutely. I've been a victim of that, by the way, a couple of times. Whether or not I was a victim, I don't know. Maybe I was doing something wrong. But I've had 3 sons. Yeah. There you go. Just in case you want to dig around and see what's going on there. You know, I impregnated a closet lesbian who then moved away with my son, who it don't matter. All right. Well, it does matter, of course, but yeah, you know, it's maybe a story for another time. Okay.
This is imperative if we're to arm ourselves for the confrontation with that second existential threat to our future, Islamic conquest. Above all, it means reclaiming and rebuilding marriage, not just as a religious preference, but as the indispensable foundation of a free and secure society. A society strong enough to build its defences against mass immigration and reassert the rule of law over incompatible cultures taking over our cities and towns. Winning that battle, in my view, cannot be accomplished without it. Thank you.
This telephone call, just let me mute you for a bit. Well, no, oh dear, hold on, let me see who that was. Probably my mother. I don't know, let me look. Yeah, sorry Mum, bit busy at the moment. I'll ring you up in a bit. Right, where was I? Oh yeah, where was we? There you go.
When we asked our next speaker to come and speak, he took one look at the weather and decided to stay in Alicante and instead send us in this video. The amazing Paul Thorpe.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my absolute honour to have been asked to address such a wonderful audience today, and I thank Ben Habib and my fellow Advanced UK members for this opportunity. Now, the amazing people of our United Kingdom have always risen to the toughest of challenges. No task has ever been too great, no order has ever been too tall. And behind our uniqueness as a people, our success, our bravery and stoicism is a very special type of human being. And we often, and quite rightly, celebrate what us British have given to the world. But we rarely recognise the hands that built our nation in the first place and then fought and died to retain it for future generations. Those are the hands of our wonderful and quite unique working class. In modern times today, it's our bricklayers, plasterers, labourers, emergency service workers, those who sweep our roads to keep them clean, and the men and women who rise at 4 a.m. to go to work in the cold and rain every single morning that are no longer celebrated or given the respect that they truly deserve. And in years gone by, it was the working class English longbowmen who saw off the French and who enjoyed their work so much that they managed to drag it out for 100 years. The working class heroes of Waterloo and Trafalgar, and those who gave their lives in their thousands in the fields of Flanders and on the beaches of Dunkirk and Normandy. The working class blood of our brave servicemen and women from 2 world wars that included my own grandfather. Yes, he too was one of that lot. And we should never forget nor underestimate their contribution to our nation, for it is the working class who keep our country alive. They keep it functioning and they keep it moving for those that have betrayed them. But times are changing at last in Advance UK, and with our amazing leader Ben Habib at the helm, finally we have a political party that truly recognises, respects, and indeed celebrates the crucial contribution of these proud men and women, both past, present and future. Advance UK really is the People's Party. It's yours, it's mine, it's ours. And it loves the working class people of our nation.
Hoping to meet Paul Thorpe soon. All I can say. Big surprise. Nothing else will be said about it.
Our next speaker is the incredibly righteous Ricky Doolan.
Not righteous enough to miss that step, but anyway.
Don't do a Joe Biden, mate.
Good afternoon, London. We have made it. This is a big part of a great momentum that is gathering and building through Advance UK. Over 40,000 members in the opening months, and now a full house in the middle of London.
Yep.
You can celebrate that, somebody. So thank you to Ben. Thank you so much, sir, for starting this party and for allowing us to be here today gathered. And we're here on a very big task. We're here to save our wonderful nation, and save it we shall. And I noticed something up here. I think it's the most fitting venue that we could have started off in London. This is a house of God. It's a house of worship. Yep. And the message up there is that God is with us. And I want to say, Britain, God is with us. Advance UK, God is with us.
And of course, all those people that were mentioned before in world wars and you know, previous to about 1950s, you know, all those people fought for a Christian land. What you can hear me stamping on right now. Christian land, yet Christianity allows you to believe whatever you want to believe. All right? There's a certain ideology that does not allow that. Say no more.
And the Bible says something very important. If God is for us, then who could be against us?
Sorry, did I just say there's a particular Christianity that does not allow that? I meant religion. There's a particular religion that does that. That's if I got it wrong, I can't remember.
It means we are victorious already. Now, something that's been part of this attack on our nation, from the leftists, the Marxists, the Islamists, all of the ists.
Yeah.
One thing they do in their assault on our nation is they try and dictate to us who we are. They try and tell us what our history is, who we are, what type of people we are. what the culture stands for.
Pee off.
And each and every time, they try and distort the reality and the truth of who we are.
Correct.
We know who we are. We are the British. We
Yeah.
are a great Christian country,
Yeah.
and we are not backing down.
Yeah. We also discovered America on massive yachts and a diet of limes. So, and our humour. You'll never get by our humour.
Now, I want to read you something. Some of you may recognize it, some of you may not. It reads like this. Know that, having regard to God and for the salvation of our soul and those of all of our ancestors and heirs, and unto the honor of God and the advancement of his holy church and for the rectifying of our realm. Do you know what that is? It's not the Holy Bible. It's the Magna Carta.
There is another another passage, another mention. 1689, Magna Carta, civil rights. 1689, no foreign person will be allowed to stand in the House of Parliament. Enough said. Nobody brings that up because we haven't got a government at the moment that's strong enough or got the backbone in which to bring that up. We can bring this up with Ben Habib if he's not aware of it. It should be. Graham Moore as well. I'll try and leave his link in the description. That's a lot of links I've got to remember. I'll leave that link as well. He's very much up on the Civil Rights Act acts of years ago that we're now forgetting in this country because it's not taught in schools for some unknown reason. Exactly the same as why treason is no longer illegal, really. You know, there's no corporal punishment for it. Brought in by Mr. Tony Blair, I believe, 1975. Oh, I think it was 75.
But just look at the language in the Magna Carta. The whole document was dedicated to God. And which God am I talking about? I'm talking about the God of this nation, the Christian God. Jesus Christ is who I'm talking about. The Magna Carta set in motion the absolute foundation for liberties, not only in this great country, but across the world. It was the foundation for the Constitution in America and the Bill of Rights. It was the foundation for anybody to have fair and just justice, even for a jury to be amongst the judging party of anybody who was accused of something comes from the Magna Carta. And now we see each and every one of those liberties being betrayed, being regressed. And as Advance UK, we say no more, we won't tolerate it, we won't stand for it. Yeah. Our liberties will be held.
Without a foundation, same as I mentioned, Christian land. That tap in there, that's Christian land, fought for by our forefathers. Christian land, without a foundation, what have we got to build on? Literally got to build on nothing. Got nothing to build on without without Christian foundations. Do you want to give that foundation away to someone else who would happily take it away from us, who was trying to take it away from us right now? Where's your head at? No matter what you believe in, you need to believe what you stood on. Christian land fought for by our forefathers for the last 2,000 years or so.
So this is the Magna Carta, which I read to you. And listen to the language, speaking about God, speaking about our salvation as a nation. Our ancestors knew the truth.
They did.
Our ancestors knew that Jesus Christ is the one and true living God, and nothing else can change that fact. Now, tolerance is a very key virtue. But tolerance should never go over our foundations, our principles, our identity. Never. In a million years.
Of course it should.
But that's what they're trying to do now.
Exactly.
And what is so wonderful about Advance UK is that while we are advancing, we are going to look to the past.
Yeah.
We are going to look to our foundations to bring a new future for our children and our children's children.
Those guys knew, you see, back in the past. They knew. They weren't just laid down doing video commentaries and that, you know, so comfortable that they're able to do that, or watch a TikTok dance or something. Not that I'd do that. TikTok won't shoot it in the face like a septic horse, if you ask me. But anyway, each to their own, I suppose. But yeah.
Now, the final thing I want to say is that if you look at the House of Parliament, if you look at the House of Commons, where the debates take place, where many anti-Christian individuals and parties are throwing debates and opinions and policies at each other, many of them going against our Christian constitution, many of them going against our Christian culture. Well, do you know that very House of Commons used to be a chapel? Oh yeah, St. Stephen's Chapel. That's what it was. Right. And the royal family used to worship there, and then they allowed debating to begin there. The very pews that the governing party sit in, and the ones opposite for the opposition party, were actually the pews for the choir.
Right.
The choir, meaning they were for worshipping God, for Jesus Christ. And I tell you something, if we are going to come back to a sanity in this nation, if we are going to come back to this land being healed, we must turn back to Jesus Christ, the God of this nation. It's the only way.
Where's Nick Tenconi, by the way? Nick, you need to join. Why put your own ego in front of everything? You were saying on Paul Thorpe's channel a few weeks ago that you wanted an apology from all us members for Advance UK, because we used to support the man which was for Reform UK until 2024, I think you mentioned. But in 2024, Advance UK started showing its true colours, i.e. Nigel Farage showing the true colours.
I want to leave with this statement. I want to echo a great ally of ours in the battle for freedom and the battle for our nations and culture, President Donald Trump.
Fun fact for you, I didn't used to like Donald Trump until Labour got in. Now, when Labour got in, and then I could see the commonality between Labour and Joe Biden, I thought, wait a minute. And then I started listening to different news sources rather than the mainstream media sources on Donald Trump. And I thought, oh, I've been duped. It's that easy. So now, of course, I'm all for Trump. Orange man good. Come on, Donald. Power. Brilliant.
He said something that I am going to echo for Britain. We must rededicate this nation to Christ. Thank you so much.
And despite me being an atheist, I believe that we all just put into a pot, and then that's how we're remembered when we've died. You know, I'm hoping to put into the pot by doing these little YouTube snippets. You know, well, people might, you know, when I'm gone, people might say, "Oh, remember that guy Electrodoc? He was talking about something like that." You know, so I'm hoping to put that into the pot, so as I'm remembered, you know, when I'm gone. And even being an atheist, I'm still welcome within the Christian Church, of which the land I stand was fought by. I understand that, and I completely get, you know, the Christian belief system, because the Christians aren't going to take that belief away from me or force me to believe in something else. They're not going to do that, and I love that about them. It's brilliant. So free to do whatever you want, to think whatever you want to think. You can do that under a Christian foundation. Well, over a Christian foundation, under a Christian foundation. Well, I suppose if I'm dead, then I'll be under it. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Our next speaker is talking about a part of our culture that is very dear to me, our military. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Dye.
It is impossible to talk about British culture without mentioning the part that our military has played in shaping it. My name is Andy Dye. I'm an ex-Royal Engineer and paratrooper. I served 10 years in the British Army.
Thank you for your service, young man. Cheers, Andy.
I am fiercely and unapologetically proud of my country, its history and its achievements.
Come on.
Like many of you, my grandfathers, great-grandfathers and uncles fought for our freedom in both world wars. The debt we owe them is beyond measure.
Yeah.
Many nations have developed and lost a warrior culture. They're usually based on conquest and plunder. They're gone in a couple of generations, the blink of an eye. Our warrior culture is different. It is central to our 1,000 years of shared history, older than the United Kingdom and even the nations it consists of. It has endured and continues to this day because it has value. It is based on service, strength, honour, compassion and a desire to protect the weak, especially children. Tommy Atkins is the finest fighting man that ever walked the earth. He has won 2 world wars, 3 if you count beating Napoleon, repeatedly saving our European cousins from each other. Some of them are even grateful. Through our empire, we brought civilization where there was none, along with light, power, sanitation, medicine and education, sharing our ingenuity free of charge. It is fashionable among the degenerate left to sneer at our nation, its achievements and our empire. Why? Because they are unworthy of its legacy. They are unable even to maintain what better men and women built. We expended vast amounts of our blood and treasure to end transatlantic slavery. We only finished paying the debt in 2015. Who dares to denigrate us?
David Lammy. Who were he? He used to be on Chris Tarrant's.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the covenant between our armed forces and our people that has made all this possible.
Lenny Henry, supposedly a Brit. I want reparations.
We could not have defeated other industrial powers without those at home putting their shoulders to the wheel. The women who went willingly into the fields, factories and hospitals, even behind enemy lines, were every bit the warrior themselves. The part of the covenant that is now broken is that between we the people and our establishment. The military has never needed to be best friends with our leaders. Wellington called us scum, drunks and devils. We just laughed at the size of his nose. We have, however, always had the right to demand their loyalty. Can you imagine explaining to your forebears who endured what they did that our government would allow British soldiers to be prosecuted for the crime of doing their duty? Let's be clear, there is no autonomy on the battlefield. From pre-deployment training, through planning, operations and debrief, every action is micro-analysed. Rules of engagement are already written by weaklings and restrictive to the point where they favour the enemy. If wrongdoing is not immediately identified, no British soldier should face prosecution years later unless his chain of command, up to and including cabinet level, are co-defendants.
I would happily volunteer for the British military as a sandbag.
The day that veteran prosecutions affect senior officers and politicians is the day that they will stop. As regard our elitist but far from elite leaders, by their deeds you shall know them. The Westminster culture clearly does not share the values that I set up. Strength, honour, integrity, even the desire to protect children are completely absent. They are not like us, we are not like them. We no longer trust or respect career politicians. The two-party system has been the first casualty. Our current situation is bleak, but we have first faced worse and prevailed. After Dunkirk, my granddad and his mates never gave up. They took the fight to the enemy in North Africa, Sicily and Italy before we went back to Normandy on the morning of D-Day. By comparison, our outlook is bright with freedom in sight. It took our forefathers 1,000 years to build what we have today and only 30 years of malfeasance to drive it into the ground.
Here we go, yeah.
The solution to our problems is obvious. As Ricky said, it doesn't lie in more change. It simply lies in restoring what we had. In rejecting outside influences, prioritising our national interests and handing power back to the people. Advance UK is determined to do exactly that. By coming together as we did before, rejecting tyranny as we have always done, men and women, old and young, soldier and civilian, from country estate to council estate, if we unite, our kingdom will prosper. By being in this room today, you have declared that you are ready to fight for this nation and its future. Together, we say to our political establishment, this is our country, not yours. Your time is over. Advance UK is coming. So stop lying to us, stop stealing from us, and get out of our way.
Do that, yeah. Very good.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is going to talk about an industry that's been absolutely decimated by this latest government.
Ben?
I'm of course talking about our incredible bowler hat farmer, Mark Blyford. Hi everybody. I come with no notes, and that's for a reason. I can't read. I grew up on a farm, and I want to tell you about some of the things which I enjoyed as growing up as a kid. Some of the things which, on a farm, you're never going to get to do anywhere else in the world, especially nowadays. We climbed trees. We fell out. We stacked bales. They fell over. If anything broke, you repaired it with a bit of bale twine. All things what made us who we were. When I got asked to stand for the college, I genuinely thought to myself, what have I got to offer? But then I remembered. We've been blessed in this country. As kids, we grew up, we went to Sunday school. We were taught morals, we were taught values, things what we've forgotten. Most of us hasn't. I travelled the UK last year with my partner. I know I'm racist because those who know me and know my partner will know she's black Nigerian. And for those who say the British are racist, excuse me, but fuck you.
Bunch of protesters, Antifa outside as well, apparently, protesting. It's ridiculous. How brainwashed those people are. It's just stupid. TikTok culture and being locked up for 2 years during the COVID thing, pandemic.
We travelled the country, we did 12,000 miles. We did Land's End to John O'Groats, like that, because I didn't really understand sat-nav. But let me tell you what we found. There wasn't one village, there wasn't one town where we weren't made to feel welcome. There's one particular lady sitting in this audience, I won't say who, but when I rang her to ask her, was it okay if we went to stop there, she said, darling, the door's open. We're not there, though. We're in London. That's the country we grew up in. That's the country we want back.
Yeah. Absolutely. Amen.
It's fair to say we've lost our way as a nation, as a country.
Corrupt politicians.
The problem is, when you dilute what the belief is, things change.
Yeah.
I went to school, despite the belief, a Christian school. We had to take one of these with us, a Bible. We had to do particular things at a particular time of the year. Celebrate Christmas.
Where on earth are the Bob a Job lads nowadays from Cub Scouts? Where are they? What my lawn doing? Obviously, I'm not going to give them 10 bob. Or 5p a bob a job. I'm not going to give them 5p. I'll give them, I don't know, tenner. Mow my front lawn. It's what? 6 metre by 5, if that. Bit of a mow. Oh, where are they?
Easter! See, guys, when I went to travel the country last year, I realised something. I thought, in the start of 2020, that I was mad. And I was the only person who could see what was really coming about. Yet here I am in a room full of 1,000 people who want to see change in our country. As I toured the country, farmers came out, housewives came out, the kids came out. 20,000 people came to hear me speak. I'm just a boy. I'm just a guy who grew up on a farm. I've got no real education. Yeah, I've got one of those bits of paper to keep my mum happy called a degree. But where's the experience come from? Kids can't get a paper round anymore. They're not allowed to do anything anymore. I grew up in a village so remote that we used to go to play in the next village, and when the street lights came on, you knew it was time to go home.
Yeah. And if I didn't, I got grounded for a week.
Guys, I've only got one thing left to say.
Support the system.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker is an absolute giant in comedy, more than just stature, Leo Kearse.
Alright, I don't know why I'm doing 2 bits. I could have just done 1 big bit at the start, but yeah, man, I just wanted to come up here and talk about freedom of speech and why it's important, especially in comedy. You know, I've had people trying to cancel me. People successfully cancel me. I used to do a show every month at Top Secret Comedy Club in London. It's a great club. They didn't cancel me, by the way, but this complaint email, this just shows how people go out of their way to get offended. The complaint email said, we came to see Leo Kearse's show in July, and it was horrific and offensive, and we left in disgust. And then we came back to see it again in October. He's still horrific and offensive. Can you please stop putting him on? It's like, why don't you go and see somebody else? You know what I mean? Other comedians are available. People just want to get offended these days. Like, I got cancelled from some venues because of my comedy about trans people. I think we've got to be able to talk about this stuff. You know, we can't have transgender sports becoming a dumping ground. Like, female sports can't become a retirement community for mediocre male athletes. It's a nonsense. Even if it is more entertaining to watch, it's just not right, you know? Because you got to understand, when you go through male puberty, you get certain advantages as an athlete. You get stronger muscles, you get greater bone density, it's easier to parallel park outside the stadium. I saw this, this New Zealand weightlifter, Laurel Hubbard. I don't know where he got his gender transition surgery done, but I read that he's got a 135 kilogram snatch. That's got to be one of the bigger ones, you know? And they say things like, I just want to be seen. It's like, Susan, you're 6'5", and you're dressed like a Japanese schoolgirl. Like, everybody can see you. Don't worry about that. You are not getting hit by a car, because frankly, you'd write the van off. And then people say, like, oh, how can you talk about this? How can you talk about this as a straight white man? It's like, straight white man? What do you think transgender women are? And I've been accused of thinly veiled Islamophobia, which, you know, would you be happy if I put a thicker veil on it? Would that make it okay? Mandatory. Like, I don't know, I think, people get a hard time for Islamophobia, but Islamists are a little bit scary. Like, a phobia is supposed to be an irrational fear, but I find ISIS a little bit scary. Islamic terror, a little bit scary. You know, nobody's given arachnophobes a hard time for being scared of spiders. And all a spider's going to do is scuttle out from under the couch and give you a little bit of a jump, you know? Not that I'm saying there's any similarities between Islamists and spiders, you know? Spiders have got hairy legs and kill a surprising number of people in hot countries. And but Islamists are definitely scarier. Like, imagine if you got home tonight and you sit down on the couch to watch some TV and an Islamist scuttles out from under the couch. It's Osama bin Laden going across the carpet. Look at his legs, they're going so fast. Look at his distended thorax. And he scuttles over to the curtains because he thinks it's his wives. And and he disappears, so you think you're safe, you know, okay, he's disappeared, you know, he's behind there. I just hope he's not, you know, laying 500 eggs to create more Islamists, you know, which you can now. They've suspended the 2-child benefit cap. I hope he's not. I hope he's not doing that, and you think, well, I'll just go upstairs and have a bath to relax, and then you go into the bathroom, you turn on the light, and there's Abu Hamza in the bathtub! And he's struggling to get out, but he can't get any purchase on the shiny sides of the bath, because his hands are hooks. That's terrifying. That's much scarier than a spider. You're supposed to get him in a pint glass and slide a bit of card under. The guy's 32 stone.
It's not going to happen. No. It's ridiculous. We've got to be able to talk about these issues. We've got to be able to joke about these issues, because that's how tensions are diffused.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And the left talk about social cohesion and how they want people to be tolerant. Like, if you silence people from talking about these things, if you stop people looking at issues like the grooming gangs, you're not improving social cohesion. You are damaging it, because those tensions are just going to bubble up and explode. And Britain is the birthplace of Western democracy. It's the birthplace of free speech, and that's got to be protected. Britain's culture has got to be protected. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Cheers.
I'm learning from you, boss.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the first of our policies, please welcome party leader Ben Habib.
Hey! Woo! Come on, Ben. Here we go. What we got? Come on, Ben. There we go.
Thank you very much, folks. Now, normally, if you've heard me speak, I do it without notes. I thought since I was going to give you our first couple of policies, I might note some of them down, and I've noted them down for you. So this is going to be a relatively easy speech, I hope, for me to make, not completely coming out of my mind. But before I start, can I just say, isn't it peculiar that a so-called racist party has a multi-ethnic leader? You lot clearly don't know what you signed up for. But on a more serious note, there are some anti-racist people outside, and the reason we were slightly delayed starting this conference was because they're blocking our live stream signal, and we were trying to get that fixed.
Wow.
So for all their moral correctitude, actually they would wish to silence us. They wish to silence what we have to say. We will not let them silence us.
This is another reason as well, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is why I'm sharing this stream from the Baraka Show. It was the only one we could really find. There are a lot of people re-streaming this, such as Richie and Rogue. We're going to have on the Wizard's Words channel very soon, we hope. Yeah, there were a lot of people. I did actually ask in chat whether or not I were okay to re-stream this. I'm sure it's fine and dandy because it's, well, basically it's news. And yeah, I'm not trying to poach on Baraka's show at all. I'll leave his link in the description down below. We need to just spread this word out. Yeah, the Wizard's Words. You need to take heed of what I'm saying here, because we need to get this word out, and nobody minds. Nobody minds, mate. The only thing you might have had to cut out was the audio from which I'm going to cut out of this, but the audio that was on an advert that they were doing, because I don't even know whether or not it is copyrighted, but I'm going to take it out just in case. It was just a quick advert for Advance UK.
Now, when I first indicated on the 30th of June 2025 that I was going to launch, I was considering launching a political party. I set two hurdles for the party. The first was that we would have to hit 30,000 members. And I thought that might be a get-out-of-jail-free card, that I wouldn't hit it and that I could retire back to my normal life and say, well, I gave it a shot, it didn't work. Within a couple of months, we hit our target.
Absolutely.
And
took Reform UK 5 years to get to that figure. Nigel, 5 years. 2 months we did it.
And if you had said to me then that in 6 months, Ben, You will have nearly 40,000 members. You would have fought your first cancelled by-election and got 12.3% in it. Where's the wonderful Alex Stevenson? And that you, at the time of speaking on your first policy, you would have a candidate standing in a by-election that has got so riled up my erstwhile party that they've been denouncing him non-stop on X. I won't name the party, I think you can guess. But for all the banging of drums that party does about freedom of speech, actually, it stands against it. It wishes to silence Nick Buckley.
Yeah. I know Ben's probably going to be too proud to mention that, but also Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib, they have not appeared on GB News, of which Nigel Farage is a major shareholder of. Let that sit for a moment. Let that sit for a moment to know what party you're actually going to be voting for if you were to go with Reform UK.
How astonishing it must have been for them that a political party wished to stand a candidate in an election. How bizarre a concept is that?
Yeah, Matt Goodwin is not even from Manchester. He studied there, but he's not from Manchester. He's just from outside Luton.
But as Nick said, whatever happens in that by-election actually won't make a jot of a difference on the national stage, but in one respect. If we do well in that by-election, it will send a seismic shock through Westminster.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely vital we stand. Absolutely vital, and that's why they didn't want us to do it. So to the extent that any of you have got free time coming up over the next couple of weeks, I plead to you, please go up to Gorton and Denton, support Nick Buckley, and let's win this by-election.
We're unable to travel that far. We're unable to travel far at all. But what we are doing is, same as I said in the beginning, on the Wizards World channel, we're doing a live stream whereby the public can give their views, can ask questions, can give their ideas up into the upper echelons of Advance UK, because it is a people first party. So it's from the bottom and up. Obviously, we're able to influence college members who then make policies that then get put up into the upper echelons of Advance UK and make it into policies. There you go.
Now, before I start on the first policy, I do just want to thank a few people. I want to thank the Emmanuel Centre particularly, because the location of this venue was given away earlier this week, and following the disclosure of the location, they were inundated with the so-called anti-hate people trying to shut us down, the anti-racists trying to shut us down, and they held their ground. And I'm very grateful to them. The only way we're going to prevail, ladies and gentlemen, is if we all hold our ground. We must not bend. We must keep standing up, whatever they do and whatever they say. I would also like to thank, you've heard her name a few times, some of you know who she is. Luckily for those of you who don't, she's here, Floss. Floss, stand up.
Right, thank you.
Be counted. This venue, this event wouldn't have taken place without Floss. I also want to thank... She can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but she's got this together. I want to thank...
Whether or not this is questions that we raised after we interviewed Paul Berguss on the Wizards World, that was one of the first Advance UK college, well, ex-college member now. We did express some concerns about Floss, but I think they've been quelled right now after our interview with Paul Thorpe on the same channel. That's the Wizard's Words. I'll leave his link in the description, obviously. Proud moderator for the Wizard's Words, and also a very proud member of Advance UK. Both of us are. Okay.
Françoise as well, who's head of events. Françoise is here somewhere, who's been instrumental in doing this. And then I want to thank David Rhodes, who habitually repeatedly tells me he wants to take a back seat. Well, for someone who wants to take a back seat, he's heading up the policy development of Advance UK. He's a phenomenal member of our college, and without him, we wouldn't have what I'm about to disclose to you. And I'd like, last of all, if I may, to thank the college for the hard work that they do behind the scenes. What I'm going to show you now is just a synopsis of our draft policies. This is not comprehensive. It took me ages poring through the document they produced to actually pick out the key bits that I thought I could get through in now 18 minutes that I've got left to speak to you. They are in draft because as we move forward between now and the next general election, we are going to continue to refine our policies. We're going to continue to make the public aware of what those policies are, so that by the time we get to 2028, 2029, we have a perfect, or as close as perfect, set of policies that have been thought through in great detail, and we're going to back it up with draft legislation. That draft legislation will be appended to our manifesto, and for those of the public who wish to read it, the exact direction of travel that we will set for this country will be known. There will be no ambiguity in our policies. It won't be a manifesto put together within 3 weeks. Isn't it peculiar, ladies and gentlemen, that political parties stand for government and they produce a manifesto 2 or 3 weeks before the election, full of nonsense, none of which ever gets delivered? That has to change. And so we will have draft legislation. And the benefit of having draft legislation, there's multiple benefits. The first of which is that the British people know precisely what it is we're going to do, so we can't let them down. We've made it crystal clear. The next benefit, and this is really important, is that the Lords can't interfere with it. The civil service can't interfere with it.
Well,
when I walk into the Commons in May 2029 for the first time as Prime Minister of this country, that is the risk of being a leader of a political party. You may end up as Prime Minister, but when I walk into the Commons, I'm going to thump this document down, this draft legislation, and I'm going to look across to the opposite benches, and I'm going to address the Lords, the civil service and the British people, and I'm going to thump this document down and say, I have the democratic backing of the British people to deliver this agenda. We have one last chance to save this country. I think I can't remember who said it earlier, but it took 1,000 years to build this great country. It's taken 30 years to trash it. And we have to save it, and save it we will. Now, the first policy that we were going to draft was on immigration, because that is the thing that really exercises the people's minds. 80% of people in this country put immigration at the top of their concern list. But as we were drafting it, a couple of things happened. The first thing was that we realized, the group of people that were drafting it and myself, that actually there's something more fundamental that has to underpin not just our immigration policy, but all our policies. It is who we are. What are we as a country? Who are we? What do we wish to be? How do we wish to move forward? Unless you've established that principle, those sets of principles, you're at sea making other policies. You won't know how to make the other policies you need to make to save the United Kingdom if you can't first establish who we are. And I'm afraid, as much as Keir Starmer and the liberal globalist lunatics would like to categorize British culture as something of an inferior debate. They call it the culture wars. We're not going to entertain the culture wars. As much as they might wish to categorize it as that, actually British culture is what we're fighting for.
Wow.
When we went to war against Hitler, we didn't go to war for economic advancement. We went to war to save our way of life, to save our constitution, our culture, our people. And we are at that point again. There aren't guns being fired, but we're at a point where we have to fight that same battle for our way of life. So, the government, in its desire to set aside this nation, has defined cultural nationalism as far right. How many of you in this room were aware of that before I just told it to you? A few. The government of the United Kingdom has denounced British culture. If you look up far-right terrorism, you will find that it defines it as violence perpetrated in the pursuit of far-right ideologies, and one far-right ideology that it cites is cultural nationalism. Without a culture, we have no nation state, and they would like to diminish our culture. Tell us that those of us who believe in it are far right, and at the same time, tell us that cultures coming from abroad should be celebrated, championed, have a protective cloak put around them, and we should take the knee to their cultures. Enough of that. They have traduced our culture to such an extent that actually when people are asked, well, what does it mean to be British? We're reduced to ridiculous platitudes such as, well, being nice, being tolerant. Well, it's a hell of a lot more muscular than that, I have to remind people. British culture is a rich, woven web of brilliance. And I've highlighted a few points on the screen, as you can see. Morality, customs, behaviors, laws, art, music, architecture, a shared history, shared values, language. Why do they wish to denounce our national heroes? Because they want to cut our connection with our history, our common history. Why do they wish to decolonize the English language? Because if they can control language, they can denounce our culture. Why do they make laws like bringing into the body of British law the European Convention of Human Rights, the Human Rights Act? Because they want to set aside what it means to be a British citizen. This is the effect of 30 years of government policy. Well, it has to stop now. We know
they're importing our votes, they're exporting our votes really to a World Economic Forum or ECHR or Brussels, you know, the EU, which we voted to leave, by the way. Of course, you remember that. We were voted to leave there. We haven't left there. We're still actually ruled by people who aren't even voted into our politics. Well, they are, kind of, through the EU, but who are they? You know, we haven't voted them in.
What British culture is. So I'm pointing at a screen down there because I can see what you can see up there, down there. And all of you will recognize what those words mean, and they play into each other. Morality manifests itself in our art. Our history manifests itself in art, in music, our architecture, our great forefathers who built wonderful buildings and statues, who now we're told are racist and they need to come down. That is just a lie. It is an attack on our culture. Culture is the foundational building block. It is the glue that allows us to identify who we are. Someone asked me before I came in to speak to you, are you a bit nervous addressing 1,000 people in the Emmanuel Centre? And I thought about it for a second, and actually I wasn't nervous at all. And why wasn't I nervous? Because I knew I was coming to address a body of people who share my life vision. We are of the same culture. You are our family and I am your family. And that's how it has to be. There's something that I do want to just focus on a little bit. We tend to think of culture separately from law. And law has been used to defeat British culture. I touched on the Human Rights Act. But there's been a whole body of law that's been put into place, including, for example, defining far right as believing in this country's culture. There's been a whole body of law that has been attacking our culture. And if you have a body of law that informs you that you need to behave in a particular way, then you start behaving in that way because you don't want to break the law. And when you start behaving in that way, you adopt this new culture that the government is forcing down our throats, this multiculturalism, the ending of what you and I might identify as British culture. Law is upstream of culture, which is upstream of experience, which reinforces culture, which then informs parliamentarians on how to make law. There is a circle, and we have to reverse the circle they've been pushing down our throats for the last 30 years. So just to sum up, our culture is freedom, nation state, duty and patriotism. Being a British citizen is a huge privilege, but it comes with duty. You owe this country something for being a citizen. As Andy died, I think he said he's served 10 years in the Paras. That is fulfilling your duty.
One moment, guys. Don't know if you can see me dancing or not. I need toilet again. I'll leave this playing for you. I'll be back in.
I've had a great life. I'm trying to fulfill my duty now by giving back to the British people. And you're all here because you're fulfilling your duty, because you see we're imperiled. That sense of, that contract between the state, between the people. It's not just about the state giving. We have to give back. And I'm so pleased to see so many people re-engaged, because you are all giving back to this country. You are going to save this country through that cultural commitment. I want to talk about aspiration and merit as well. We've forgotten what aspiration is. Every time something goes wrong, we look at the state and say, well, can you please save us? Can you do something? Can you spend more money? We've got 8 million people out of a workforce of 35 million who are surviving on universal credit. And yet we keep saying we haven't got enough people in the economy, we've got to take in more migrants. It is ridiculous. We need aspiration reinstalled in the United Kingdom so people wish to come off dependency, wish to go into work, and we're going to reveal a couple of those policies in a second that's going to help do that. But as I said, law comes upstream of culture. And there are some fundamental legal changes that we would do on the first day in government. The first thing we would do, and it's kind of ironic, really, that we would be doing this, because it was us that set up the European Convention of Human Rights. I can't remember, again, which brilliant speaker earlier said that some European countries are grateful for us having saved them from the grip of Nazi tyranny. But we set up the ECHR not because the United Kingdom needed to be policed, its human rights needed to be policed. Our human rights have existed for over 1,000 years. It was the Europeans who needed the European Convention of Human Rights because they just can't help tearing themselves apart. But that European Convention of Human Rights has now been put into such It's turned into a mill round our necks. In the pursuit of human rights, we are forgetting what it means to be us. And we're not being allowed to put British national interest first. We're not allowed to put British people's interests first. And in fact, we get the bizarre result that often we will protect criminals and denounce victims, as we've seen with the rape gang.
Yeah.
All of that comes from the European Convention of Human Rights as put into the body of British law through the Human Rights Act. That was one of Blair's initial gifts to the British people, and we are going to repeal it on the first day in government. We are going to abolish the Equality Act. There's nothing about equality in the Equality Act. The Equality Act produces inequality. It informs us that you will be judged by the colour of your skin, your ethnicity, your religious beliefs, not by the content of your character. Quite the opposite of what Martin Luther King had in mind. The Equalities Act has to go, and that will go on the first day of advanced government.
Yeah. Allow us to bring our own laws in rather than listening to this ECHR nonsense.
All hate speech laws will be abolished.
Thank God for that. I'll be able to call myself a spaz again.
And now the last one, and you might think, why the hell is Ben going back to the withdrawal agreement that got us out of the European Union? Well, the withdrawal agreement is a bastardization of the United Kingdom. It did not give effect to our leaving the EU. What it did was rearrange the United Kingdom's relationship with the EU. In many ways, it made it worse. And I think all of you know that if we are still embedded, infected with the global order, we will never be able to put this country first. And there's something particularly bad about the withdrawal agreement, and many of you, all of you perhaps, have heard me speak about it before, which is the Northern Ireland Protocol. We have become... A lot of people think Northern Irish politics is a minority sport. It isn't. When a country puts a flipping border down the middle of itself and heaves off over 1 million citizens to a foreign power, subject to foreign laws adjudicated by a foreign court, you know that country has lost its way. Northern Ireland... The Northern Ireland Protocol is not just about Northern Ireland. It is about us rediscovering who the hell we are. Are we going to stand by our British brethren, or are we going to throw them under a bus? I know what I'm going to do. And we are going to get rid of the withdrawal agreement. And there'll be a whole policy on how we're going to deal with the EU, none of which von der Leyen is going to much enjoy reading. Now, there's been a lot of talk of Christianity, and of course we are a tolerant country, but we must never forget that we're not just culturally a Christian country, we are constitutionally a Christian country. We must not forget that. How is it that it has come to be that people talk about the United Kingdom as if it's a multi-faith country? Sure, you can have different faiths. You can be an atheist. You don't have to believe in Christianity. But if you live in this country, you must recognize that this is a Christian country.
Absolutely. Thank you. thank you, Ben, for reiterating my point from earlier on. Same as I say, I'm watching this along with you guys. I haven't watched this in the past. I caught the last end bit of it because I was getting my head on you. Pretty. Yeah. Not that it's worked very well. You still can't polish a turd, can you?
Starmer wants to remove the bishopric from the House of Lords. Why does he want to do that? I mean, the bishopric are a pretty useless bunch of people now because the Church of England itself has lost its way. But the reason he wants to remove the bishopric from the House of Lords is because he wants to remove the last constitutional vestige of Christianity manifesting itself in our constitution. He wants it gone. And then it's a hop and a skip to say, well, actually, we're a multicultural, multi-faith nation, and that's the end of Christianity at the heart of things. So the first policy we're going to introduce is that parliamentarians, public officers, anyone taking public office of any description has a choice. They can either swear on the Bible, or they can swear on a neutral oath. But there will be no swearing on a foreign religious text.
As it said, same as I mentioned earlier, 1689 Constitution of the People's Rights. No foreign person should be allowed to stand in Parliament. Yes, absolutely. Get them out. Get them out wanting to bring in policies over in chuffing Pakistan or wherever it is. I thought we gave Pakistan back to them. Yeah, we've got people on backbenchers in there from, I think it's Greens, I don't know who the bloody hell they are. And they're saying, oh yeah, we want an airport in Pakistan. So what? Save up for it yourself. Get it done. We've given your country your country back to you. Sort it out yourselves. Why is that even being brought up in Parliament? We want an airport in Pakistan.
We will promote our Christian heritage, our culture. If you go back to the slide where I laid out what culture means, Christianity infuses every part of that, our art, our buildings, our statues, what we fought for. If you go into a church in this country, you all know this. You go into a church in a foreign country, and what you see are trappings of Christianity. You walk into a church in this country, and you see the trappings, obviously, of Christianity, but you see also, alongside them, the heritage of this country played out through remembering those who died in the various villages where these churches are, those who died in the great wars protecting this country, protecting our Christian heritage. Our church and our heritage and our great military past, which is very, very important to this country, they all go hand in hand, and we will reinforce that Christian heritage. And we will prohibit the conversion of churches to foreign religions. When you see a church being converted to another religion, that religion is basically saying, we've beaten you. We've taken your building. That is going to stop.
Yes.
How is it that our flags have become so toxic to the British people? There's nothing toxic about our flags. Yes, they're Christian too, by the way. They're Christian too. Maybe that's why people find them offensive. But our national flag, it'll be mandatory under an advanced government that our national flag will fly on every building that is of public ownership.
Have you noticed all these this draft policy as well? Will fly on our government buildings, will launch a grooming gang inquiry, will do X, will do this, not should, like Mr. Farage says, oh, we should do that, oh, we should do this, yeah? The devil is in the detail, especially when it comes to politicians, such as Farage. The devil is in the detail. Listen very carefully at what you're being told. You're not being told policies, you're being told what we should do or what we shouldn't do. All right? They're not policies. They're just someone saying we should do this, that. And, all right? Just putting it out there, okay?
And we will recognise our great heroes and national figures. We're not going to allow statues to come down. If you let your statues come down, you forget who you are. And I did a debate recently at the Oxford Union in which I talked about Cecil Rhodes in glowing terms. You can imagine the kind of response that got. But the Rhodes Scholarship was bequeathed by Rhodes, saying that it should be blind to ethnicity and religious beliefs. Did you know that, folks? He was not a racist. He was a good man. And we are allowing our national heroes to be denounced. That has to stop too. And I want to also nod here, if I may, very briefly. I've only got 30 seconds left, but I'm going to go over time because there's a lot more to get through. I'm going to nod very briefly to the people Paul Thorpe remembered in his little speech. For every national hero we have, Wellington, Winston Churchill, Nelson, the Duke of Marlborough, behind them stood hundreds and thousands and millions of working class people. It is the British working class on whose back this country was built, and we forget them at our peril. When Nelson said, "England expects every man shall do his duty," people, the working class who manned those ships, weren't petrified, as I perhaps might have been. They cheered. They went into the French and Spanish fleet, bold in heart, and they laid down their lives to save our country. That is what culture is. The British working class are our culture. We will fund councils to promote quaint old things like Christmas and Easter. And we will speak English in every public sector.
And nothing but English signs up, please. If you don't mind, that'd be good.
And of course, we have to do away with this decolonisation of the UK. Again, that's an attack on our heritage. It's an attack on our culture. It's an attack on who we are. We will recolonise the curriculum. We will teach our constitution to our children. We will teach them about the contract that the British state has with citizenry, where citizenry get privileges because they're citizens, but then they have to stand up for the country as well. We will teach our children how our Christian forefathers have actually been a force for good, not the kind of Christianity that the anti-racist lot outside would like us to think. And let me just remind everyone that our national anthem is actually a hymn. It's a hymn, and we will sing it proudly in every state sector school and all our universities. It will be celebrated. At the heart of all of this is the family. And we are going to protect the family. We are going to destigmatize actually having children. We're going to destigmatize women looking after their children. And we're going to do that practically as well. This idea that you should reward people who can't afford to have children through a dependency culture of handing out benefits is wrong. Benefits for having children should be removed. You should be encouraged to have children through the tax system. You should be encouraged to get married. You should get a tax break. For every child you have, you should get a tax break. And you should be encouraged to stay at home and look after your children by getting a tax break. Get the tentacles of the state out of my family. And now the last one. The last line here you might think is a bit odd. Why has he suddenly put in a tax policy under the family? Well, let me tell you, inheritance tax is an evil tax. It raises not much for the exchequer, but it's a fantastic tool for the far left because it forces families to sell their homes, break their connection with the country, sell their businesses, break their connection with the economy of the country, sell their farms, break the connection with making food domestically in this country. It is an attack on the connection between the British people, its heritage, our heritage, and the land. And that's what they want to do. Inheritance tax, if we want to save the country, inheritance tax has to go.
Thank you.
We have to reintroduce, I've touched on this briefly before, we have to reintroduce aspiration. You have to know that when you work, you will be rewarded for it. How can you go forward with confidence during the day if you think that every time you earn a pound, the government's going to reach into your back pocket and nick it, and then use that money actually to keep those people who refuse to work in the state that they can, and not just them, but foreigners who come to this country. And we've got to be grown up. We do need to make our accounts stack up. And other political parties won't talk about it. But we must cut back welfare. If you don't work, you will not get paid. There's no such thing as a free lunch. We're going to pursue British farming. I'm going to have to rush a bit, folks. We're going to pursue British farming. We're going to protect the countryside from new build housing. It's not necessary. We've got exhausted villages and town centres across the country, full of property that's vacant, that can be repurposed. You know why we can't repurpose it? Because of net zero. We can't repurpose it because of net zero, so they go and build on the green countryside. It's lunatic. And they take our country, once the countryside's gone, it's gone. We will reverse that. And we will prohibit the removal of farms from the fabric of British culture.
Got to.
Yes!
Got to.
Andy talked about the risk of prosecution when you serve this country, but there's also something else that we've done for our veterans, which is absolutely horrendous, or haven't done for our veterans, is we've turned our backs on them after they have served the country. We don't give them housing, we don't give them priority housing. We don't look after the mental health issues that they often have when they come back from war zones. We give them no mechanism by which they can come back from the extreme conditions in which they have fought to protect this country, to find their feet again in society in this country. We have to repurpose them, if you like. They need a helping hand when they come out.
Yep. Absolutely.
And we will obviously get rid of any, I mean, I love the way Andy said it, you know, if we're going to put an officer or a member of the military on charge, well, then it has to go all the way up to blooming cabinet ministers. That's a good one. I think that will be the end of the prosecution of anyone in the military. We're going to get rid of dual nationality. Either you're British or you're not. We will define multiculturalism as an extreme far left form of ideology, which we will denounce. Even integration's not good enough. People have to be assimilated into British culture. There can be no foreign religious courts in the United Kingdom.
Correct. That's Sharia courts, by the way, guys, if you didn't know. They're called gays. On Richard, we haven't got free speech that no, just yet, but no, guys, that's in relationship to Sharia courts. Don't need them. It's not a Sharia country, it's a Christian country. Got 85, I believe, in the UK.
There can be no public calls to prayer.
Oh, yeah. Not British. Nope. Church bells.
And as much as I would wish not to have to use the law to bring our culture back into balance, things are so out of balance that I'm afraid we have no option now but to ban the burqa.
And halal slaughter and kosher slaughter. Sorry, Jewish people, but you know, you can't have your cake and eat it. Even if it's been slowly left to bleed to death all over a floor, you can't have that kind of cake and eat it.
The burqa and the niqab are the outward expression of the repression of women. How did we get there? It also is an overt rejection of British culture. When you see a woman wearing the burqa and niqab, she is looking down on British culture. She is rejecting us. How can you be in our country, claim to be British, and reject Britain?
Cannot argue with that.
And finally, I mean, we shouldn't have to say this, but finally, we will ban first cousin marriage. I've spoken for 6 minutes beyond what I was allocated. I'm going to shut up. I think you'll get another dose of me in a second. But I want to say one last thing. What you've just seen is just a synopsis of the draft policy. The draft policy for the restoration of our culture, which will underpin every other policy we make, is a thug document. I'm very grateful to David for having produced it, and if I may, I might take a bit of gratitude for having distilled it. Thank you very much, folks.
What a legend! What a legend! Wow.
Ben. Right, let's catch up with the second bit that Ben promised us, and then that should be it, I think. Let's have a look.
I think I did warn you there was a second dose, didn't I? This is the policy which we had conceived this event for, the immigration policy. As I said, I think when I first spoke, that it's the preeminent issue exercising everyone's mind. And so, before I start, I just want to say this. Isn't it peculiar that even though it's the preeminent policy in the electorate's mind, we don't know where the Tory party stands on immigration? Yes, we know that Kemi Badenoch would like to increase the period of time from 5 years to 10 years for indefinite leave to remain. Yes, we know that she now has reluctantly agreed to leave the ECHR, but beyond that, we've got no vision of where the Tory party is on immigration. And then there's another party, the leader of which has made a living on the back of calling out mass immigration for the last 25 years. But that party hasn't come up with a policy on immigration. Do we know what net zero migration means? That's the headline, but actually net zero migration could mean 1 million people coming in each year, as long as 1 million Brits leave each year. It's about as daft a brush as a policy as you could possibly come up with. And it's vital, therefore, that if these parties wish to champion the United Kingdom and the British people, if that's what they claim they wish to do, they need to come up with a comprehensive immigration policy for illegal migration and mass migration.
I'm fairly sure that's Reform UK that it's talking about there. I'll say it, even if Ben won't. But I'm fairly sure that is talking about net zero. Good point, Ben. What does that mean?
And even though we're only 6 months old, or 2 months since we got our registration with the Electoral Commission, you will see from this brand new party a complete holistic approach to how we're going to deal with immigration. So it's not rocket science. These other parties could do it if they wish to. They just haven't got the courage to do it. The first thing we have to remember is that this is a national emergency. Our population is growing rapidly, not because we're all reproducing like rabbits, but because we have taken our borders down. This is an emergency. So the first thing an advanced UK government will do is declare a national emergency and we will use the authority given to the government after having been elected under that mandate. We will use the authority given by the national emergency to pass the laws that we need to pass to save the country being completely taken over by foreigners. This policy, like the last one, is in draft. It is a much thicker document that the committee responsible for it. The document itself is much thicker than the points I'm going to go through, but I'm going to pull on the main parts of that policy, focusing on the national emergency aspects. So this is not the policy that you may see into the long term from an advanced UK government. This is the immigration policy that we will use to settle the United Kingdom, save it from the trajectory that it's currently on. The other political parties are skirting around the issue. How is it that simply through the effluxion of time in this country as a foreigner that you suddenly get the right to stay here forever? How is it that we will take people in and say, well, as long as you're here for 5 years, you can break the law, you can be on benefits, you don't have to work, we'll look after you, and as long as you're here for 5 years, we'll then make you a British citizen. We will give you indefinite leave to remain. It doesn't make any sense. If you come to this country on a visa, either for student purposes or for work, you discharge whatever the permissions are, that you use the permissions that you had under that visa, and then you graciously absent yourself from the country. It's obvious, so we will abolish the granting, any further granting of indefinite leave to remain. But it's already taken quite a grip of the country. The Boris wave of immigrants, remember the guy who said he'd deliver Brexit and then stop immigration? He actually let 5 million people into the country under his tenure. And if we don't reverse indefinite leave to remain back to a point in time where that Boris wave began, we will not be able to save the United Kingdom. So we have to not just abolish ILR, we have to reverse it back to 2019, when Boris Johnson became Prime Minister. And we've got to stop. We've got to stop this preparedness to be all welcoming to anyone from any part of the world that claims that they're a threat at home. Asylum applications will be suspended. There will be no new asylum applications entertained. And we will reverse back to 2019, perhaps with 1 or 2 exceptions, but we will reverse back to 2019 any asylum grants. I know for a fact that the civil service has been issuing asylum, the right to stay in this country, not because the people applying for asylum deserved it, but because they just wanted to get rid of the embarrassing backlog of asylum applications. They wanted it to look as if they've reduced the asylum backlog, and so they're rushing through the granting of asylum status. So we have to reverse that back to 2019 as well. And for goodness sake, stop giving away British citizenship as if it's confetti. I spoke at some length in the previous presentation on culture. I spoke at some length about the contract that exists between the state and citizens. You can't possibly buy into a contract simply by sitting in the country for a period of time, which is where ILR ends up. First you get indefinite leave to remain, and then you're given a British passport as if it's a right. It is not a right. It's a privilege to be British, and we will stop granting foreigners British passports. And we've reached a stage under this national emergency where I'm afraid we're going to have to be pretty hard on people being allowed into the country for work. Visas will only be granted to people who are coming from a country that is on our new green list, which I will reveal in a second. We can't have wholesale mass migration from parts of the world that actually detest the United Kingdom. People have got to come. People have got to come from countries which hold us in high regard. Why the devil have visas been granted to students' families when they come here to study? What was the principle underlying that? It is ridiculous. So there will be an immediate cancellation of all visas granted to families of students. All work visas will be honoured, but when they come up to their expiry, the employing companies or public sector body that was employing these foreigners on visas will have to find British workers to fill those jobs. At the end of a visa, at the end of your time under your visa, it should be absolutely natural and expected, as I said, that you graciously go back home. This is our green list of countries. As I say, everything is in draft, so it may change between now and when the final policy comes out. But you can see from the list of countries listed that not one of them would pose a risk to the United Kingdom. And that's where we've got to go back to. Yes, we are an outward-looking nation, but we're being overwhelmed, and right now we need to protect ourselves, so this green list will define where we will take our future working force from, and students and people who we grant visas to. And the student sector has become a back door to actually coming into the United Kingdom, staying here for more than 5 years, getting ILR, and then getting British citizenship. They actually don't attend the universities. Many of them don't attend the universities that they were intended to, they were given a visa to attend. So we will require any student visas granted for that student to pay all their fees up front. That should focus their mind.
Yeah.
There are 1.5 million foreigners in the country, 775,000, I think, from the European Union, who come from the withdrawal agreement, and I'm going to come back to that. The rest from other parts of the world, who are getting the benefit of our ridiculously generous state welfare system. It's costing us the thick end. These are the official figures. I think the figure's much higher. It's costing us the thick end of £10 billion a year officially. But 1.5 million times 10,000 each takes you automatically to 15 billion. And it's probably higher than that as well. I'm sure we all know that. So benefits for foreigners has to stop. Why did we even think that was a good idea? It's not an extreme policy not to give foreigners benefits. What is extreme as a policy is to do that in the first place. And we're going to encourage people who are here, foreigners who are in the country, to go home. That too should not be an extreme policy. It should not be regarded as extreme. Yes, it's radical compared to where we have been with this influx of immigration, but not once in the last 30 years, not once in the last 30 years have the British people voted for mass migration. Every single election, we have voted for less migration. Yep. We want it stopped. So it shouldn't be offensive to anyone that we encourage foreigners to go under through a consensual repatriation program where they're given time-limited incentives to leave the country. And then the other thing that we seem to have forgotten is that if you're here on a visa and you overstay your visa and refuse to remove yourself, actually you're now in the United Kingdom illegally. But we don't recognize that. We think they've come on a visa, we don't know where they are, we'll turn a blind eye, they can stay, they can go on benefits, they can take jobs from British workers and so on, and they can stay in the country. The first step is to classify anyone in this country who is here on an expired visa as being here illegally. And once we've cut mass migration and encouraged some people to go home, as I mentioned again in our culture policy, the importance there being the reintroduction of aspiration, the work ethic, and so on, we are going to have to replace those immigrants on whom we've become so dependent and so lazy in our own habits. We're going to have to replace them with British citizens. We're going to have to encourage British citizens to come back into the workplace. As I mentioned, there are 8 million British citizens on universal credit at the moment, 4 million of which are not even looking for a job. They're not even looking for a job. I do not accept for one moment that all 4 million have such significant issues with themselves that they are unable to come back into work. That 4 million figure back in 2018 was 1 million. That's how accelerated our state of dependency has become. So we have to refuse to pay welfare to people who refuse to work. And to encourage them to work, we need to take the knee of the state off the neck of the working and middle classes in this country. We must reduce taxes. It's actually of cultural, national importance. And if you can do the maths yourself, if you take away benefits of £10,000 or £15,000 a year from someone, and you then start collecting tax of £3,000 to £5,000 a year from that same person who is now working, the British taxpayer, the state of the United Kingdom, is better off by £20,000 a head. It's good economics. It's basic 101 economics. The Labour government doesn't get it. They tried to reduce the welfare bill by £5 billion. Do you remember this fiasco? They tried to welfare bill £5 billion, which represents 1.6% of our welfare bill. They had such a debate amongst themselves that they ended up actually spending more at the end of the debate in Parliament. It is an utter joke. An advanced UK government will absolutely cut welfare and cut taxes, get people back into work, improve their mental health issues as a result of that, and make sure that the British state is wealthier as a result of that. And the next slide comes to something that, again, no government of which I'm aware has done in the past. We take people into this country, we give them a visa, we give them all the rights to roam and to work and to take our benefits and so on, and we ask for nothing in return. We don't even ask for some basic commitments in return. Well, every visa granted under an advanced UK government will require the adherence to what we now call our new residence covenant. They must obey the law. If they break the law, their visa is cancelled. They must only engage in the activity permitted by their visa. Why should they engage in any other activity? And of course, they shouldn't be engaging in political activity. We don't want foreigners coming to this country under visas and then using their opportunity in this country to promote foreign interests. They will not be allowed to advocate for foreign countries. They will not be allowed to process down Hyde Park, down through Parliament Square, and abuse the British people on their route. That will be stopped. And they will not be allowed to proselytize, to convert British people to whatever their ideology is. That too cannot be allowed. So any breach of the resident covenant, which will be embedded in every visa, retrospectively as well, by the way, will result in the cancellation of the visa, the individual being classified as being here illegally, and then they will suffer the consequences, which I will come to in a second, of illegal migration. Somehow, the government has convinced itself, and many in this country, that stopping illegal migration is somehow an extreme thing. That actually illegal migration is the way of the future, that climate change is giving rise to large movements of people, that there's an inability through our adherence to the European Convention of Human Rights for us to actually stamp our foot down and say, no, you're not coming into our country illegally. The extreme policy here is not stopping people at our front door. The extreme policy is opening our front door and welcoming everyone in. It makes no sense. So in addition, obviously, to stopping, granting them the right to stay in 4-star hotels, on our air bases, in our social housing, getting free medical care, free dental care, free iPad, translators, cash in their back pocket, and goodness knows what else. Instead of that, we're going to do something radical. It's not extreme, it's radical because it changes from the past. We will recognize them to be what they are, which is here illegally. They would have broken our laws, so they will be arrested, they will be detained, and then they will be deported to the maximum extent possible. There will be no exceptions and no right of appeal. Suella Braverman, bless her heart, she's made a few bad decisions recently. Suella Braverman drafted something called the Illegal Migration Act, which started off by saying that if you enter this country illegally, you will never be allowed to stay in this country. By the time it became an act, that had gone. It became a shadow of itself, and that Illegal Migration Act has never been enacted. We must reacquaint ourselves with the notion that British law applies in the United Kingdom, and if you've been judged to be illegally here and judged to be deported, you will be deported. You can't appeal. Why the devil should you be allowed to appeal? And if we can't get their countries to take home those that they sent to us illegally, then we will sanction those countries, or we will remove aid from those countries, or, failing all of that, this individual, I'm afraid, will remain incarcerated for as long as it takes for them to voluntarily get on a plane and go home. And the last point, there have been so many points which are really needless to make, but if you're a foreigner and you've broken the law and you're in a British jail, there are about 100,000 places in British jails, and 10,000 of them are taken by foreigners, costing us over £50,000 per head per annum to keep these foreigners in our jail. Why are they here? Deport the lot of them. Royal Navy, once a phenomenal force for the United Kingdom, dispatched across the globe in order to do the bidding of the Crown, now can't even stop a flipping rubber dinghy in the Channel. And it's not because the Royal Navy and the naval officers and cadets and everyone else are incapable of discharging their duty. It's because their political masters are not invoking them to do their duty. The Royal Navy will be given full legal protection, and it will be instructed to intercept dinghies, turn them round, and invite them to go back to France. I know France is an awful country, but we need to develop a bit of stiff upper lip and send them back there.
There certainly isn't a war in France. Why on earth are they making the journey? For the land of milk and honey, of course. I'm hoping this done in a bit, because I've got I'm grade 2 diabetic and I'm feeling a bit peckish, and that leads to terrible outcomes. Put it this way, I had to get myself a new keyboard the other day because I got hungry.
And obviously, will give the Navy all the tools that it needs in order to do its job. And I tell you folks, if a dinghy full of single young men from Afghanistan, Somalia and wherever come up against a frigate that refuses to let it pass, I think they'll go back to France pretty damn quickly. They're not complete lunatics. And, you know, Starmer makes a big thing about breaking the smuggling gangs. I don't know if he's aware that most of these smuggling gangs are based in Europe. It's there that the trade is taking place. There are members, however, in the United Kingdom who welcome people, and it's one digression. What you see, the people you see coming off border force boats and RNLI boats, they're the ones of which we're aware. There are many others coming across who are not intercepted and given a warm cup of tea and a Kit Kat on a state-sponsored British ferry from the middle of our territorial waters back to shore. There are many who actually, under their own steam, under their dinghies, land on our shores, and they are met by illegal smugglers in this country. And we must tackle those illegal smugglers. They must face the full force of British law. And, you know, for goodness sake, stop the payments to France. What have we had in return? It would seem to us as well that the Home Office is hijacked. The job required to be done will not be done by them. So an advanced UK government is going to establish an immigration enforcement force and tribunal. And the IEFT, amongst its other obligations, will police the Residence Covenant. It will be the authority that is able to direct the police to take action where it needs to take action. And then to the extent there's a legal process which has to be gone through, it'll be the IFT that oversees that legal process. And again, there will be no right of appeal. There'll be no mechanism for some left-wing charitable entity interceding and funding the legal fees, or the government funding the legal fees of people who are here illegally. The IEFT will act, it will act decisively, and it will send people to prison and then deportation. And in order to give effect to all of this, there are a couple of things we need to do which I've already mentioned. The first is leave the ECHR so our Navy can do what it needs to do. We can detain these people, we can incarcerate them, deport them. Leave the ECHR, reverse the Human Rights Act. But there's one other thing that we need to do, and I love this bit. I love this bit. We have to denounce, as I said in my statement on culture, we have to denounce the withdrawal agreement. And I'll tell you why we have to do that. Because the withdrawal agreement has in it this Northern Ireland Protocol, and in the Northern Ireland Protocol, it doesn't just require that Northern Ireland continues to stick and commit itself to the European Convention of Human Rights, as does the Good Friday Belfast Agreement, but it goes on to establish also European Union human rights laws in Northern Ireland. And unless we denounce the withdrawal agreement, unless we tear it up, if we enact the policies that I've just described in Great Britain as distinct from Northern Ireland, every illegal migrant will leave Great Britain and go to Northern Ireland. It will become a repository for illegal migration. And this, my erstwhile party, actually put that forward as their mass deportation policy, that they would leave the ECHR in Great Britain, but leave Northern Ireland subject to EU human rights laws and the ECHR, making Northern Ireland a repository for illegal migration and basically not achieving diddly squat, because everyone coming to this country will know that they're safe in Northern Ireland.
This is exactly why Ben Habib left Reform UK, by the way, this particular point there is on about here, because Nigel Farage said, oh, EU's done. You know, we've done it, yeah, we've Brexited. We haven't. We've left Northern Ireland with the crux of the matter to hold, and that's holding us back as well. And Ben Habib is going to reverse all that. Is going to make Northern Ireland a part of the UK again. They were hung out to dry, thrown under a bus by Mr. Farage himself. So that's what I was talking about there, guys, if you didn't know. And also it gives us more freedom to leave the ECHR, etc.
But here's the thing. If you remove the ECHR from Northern Ireland and EU human rights law from Northern Ireland, guess where all the illegal migrants are going to go? They're going to go to the Republic of Ireland. What a shame. And how do you think? It's so obvious, I shouldn't be asking the question. I'll make it a rhetorical question. How do you think the Republic of Ireland is going to respond?
Not going to like that.
It only has one response, the Republic. It is to eject from its own body of law the ECHR and European Union human rights law. If we do, this is not the aim of our policy, but I just want all Irish citizens to be aware of this. If we do what's right for the United Kingdom, we will save the Republic of Ireland. Now that took me 16 minutes, I think. No, 15 minutes. How long was it? 25 minutes, something like that. It took me 25 minutes to set out a set of policies which would save this country. People keep telling me, Ben, it's too far gone, you can't do it, it's too far gone. It's not too far gone. Yeah, so now we come to the part, actually, frankly, that I enjoy the most, which is Q&A, which gives you the opportunity to tell me that, you know, what I've been talking about is a whole load of rot, or at least to cross-question me on it. Hopefully the latter, not the former. But before I do that, can I first of all just, again, thank you for coming to this event, for taking the risk of...
I unfortunately couldn't come. As you can see, I'm quite addicted to nicotine. So, you know, I condone not smoking. I mean, I condone using nicotine in any form or another, or alcohol. Or cold tea, by the way, the other day. Yeah, I can see in here that it's a vape-free zone, which is, you know, it's basically down to the organisers, but yeah. It's vape-free zone, fair enough. So I'm tough from attending, really. Unless I wore a nicotine patch, but they're not same. Got them pens as well for an aeroplane trip that I'll be taking this year.
For taking the risk of cutting through those anti-racist lot outside. But can I also implore you that when you leave here today, and you would have heard me say this before, don't go out and think, well, you know, he made a lot of good points, but actually I'm just going to have to vote with the mainstream. I'm going to have to stick with the mainstream because there's no chance of Advanced UK forming a government. If that's how you think, I don't think that's how anyone in this room thinks, because you wouldn't be here if you thought that way. But people who think that way are part of the problem. They need to start voting for policies and for people and for a political party that will do the job. It's vital. And so the other thing I would ask you to do is, when you leave here, speak to people about what I've said. Explain to people that there is a political party that has the ability, the capability, the fortitude to deliver what this country so desperately needs. And that party is Advance UK, and they should join it. They should leave the other parties.
Vote Advance UK. I used to say, well, if it were a vote tomorrow, I'd say Vote Reform UK. An absolute push to do that, but no. Vote Advance UK. Send Farage a message. We don't want Conservatives 2.0. We don't want net zero migration. We don't want any of that, as Ben's pointed out here. And also, party's got the policies now, or at least the outline for the policy. Immigration, I think that's set in stone now. That's their immigration policy, to remove everybody from the country who's illegal, and to cut back on a lot of the freebies that they get in, or the debts that they're able to get in for studying in the country. So yeah, I can't see what anyone's issue is at all with any of these, but Roan.
So can we please move to Q&A? And
I'll tell you what, right, for the Q&A, because I'm getting hungry, I've had to screen record this. Let me make my head big one more. Where's my thing? It's there. Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to leave you to listen to the Q&A on Barak's channel. I will be leaving it in the description down below, or sorry, pinned comment down below, along with any other channels that I've mentioned. I'll also give you a list of everyone's videos who are in the college, and their introductory videos into why they've started, with the college. I've got about 15, I think. I've got a few that I've still got to get, but same as I say, I'm hungry, and I'm having to screen record this. I can't just download the video. Then I'm going to have to get in touch with the Baraka Show, make sure that I'm all right to use this content, even though I've left quite a lengthy bit of commentary on here, but it must have been about 15 minutes of commentary, including this. So anyway, yeah. Leave a like, guys. Don't forget to check out the other channels. Subscribe if you will. I think I'm on my way to 200 subscribers still. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it at that. I've still got to compress this video yet using my video software and get rid of that bit that I think might be copyrighted because of music. Okay. Love you a long time. See you next time. Cheers and bye.